Hello, my name is David and welcome to AllCBTs. In this particular video, we'll be taking the IGCSE top likely questions that you would find in every IGCSE English exam. Right? So enjoy yourself, sit with me as we take these questions one by one. Understand the way the IGCSE examination board set the questions and look at the trends, look at the flow, and understand the concepts. Okay, if you are yet to be subscribed to this channel, make sure you also do so that when we release updates to these questions or newer versions, you would be notified and then you can come back to watch. All right, so I have for you 40 of them. So I named it the top 40 challenging questions you have to find in any IGCSE test. For each of the questions, I have given you the exam year, the year when the questions was taken, where the question was taken from, then the excerpts, the passage excerpts. Then, of course, you have the question. I've also given you an answer, the answer which I'll go through. I went through properly and then I give a brief explanation for some of the questions. So let's go into it. Let's see question 1. So you have this comprehension passage or comprehension excerpt, paragraph 4, okay, taken from May-June 2017. Now, what's the excerpt? It says, Maria stared at the grey buildings beyond her window, feeling trapped in routine. The endless repetition seemed to harden her heart. This is an excerpt. An excerpt is a quote. It can be a play, it can be a book, a writing, a script. So, how does the writer portray Maria's attitude towards her environment? Use quotations in your own words. So from this excerpt, you can deduce that Maria, there are some phrases that stand out. You see, Maria stared, feeling trapped, routine, endless repetition, her heart is hardened. Okay, look at the answer I made there for you. She feels bored and emotionally confined. She was staring at the window, looking into endless space, bored, tired of the repetition, day in, day out, same thing being done. So from this excerpt, we can deduce or we can come to this conclusion. Maria stared at the grey buildings beyond her window, feeling trapped in daily routine, daily life routine. The endless repetition seems to harden her heart. So what can we come to a conclusion? What's the conclusion from that excerpt? She feels bored, emotionally confined. The phrase trapped in routine shows a sense of entrapment and hardens her heart, demonstrates emotional what? Emotional, oh, I've lost the word right there. So basically it means she felt trapped. She's bored of this day in, day out kind of lifestyle, you know. So she wanted something different. So that's the answer to that. You find a question as that, that's how you answer it. Simple, short, and sweet. Question 2. Vocabulary in context was taken from October, November 2012. And what's the excerpt? Look at it. She gritted her teeth as the verdict was read, refusing to show a fear. This is a convicted person. And gritted her teeth will mean like that kind of expression. So what does gritted her teeth suggest about her emotions? It says she gritted her teeth. So she's in the court, she's in the law court. Her sentence is being read. She's a convicted felon. She's gritted her teeth, to hide her fear. So it suggests determination or attempt to endure emotional pain without outwardly showing fear. She's trying to hide her fear. She's scared. She has just been given 20 years imprisonment. So instead of like some persons who would show outward expression, fall on the ground, hands on the head, she's standing straight and gritting her teeth, Yeah, so she's just refusing to show that fear. She's refusing to express fear. So this is how you put your answer when you get a question as this. Let's see some other examples. Question 3. It was taken from October, November 2016. The trees stood like silent sentinels, guarding the restless paths. If you don't understand what grammatical words as this mean, how do you answer the question? So at least you must have an idea. So the trees stood like silent sentinels. Sentinels are like soldiers or guards. So the trees, this is telling us that this place looks like a what? Like a forest. There's a path in the forest or in the wood. So the trees stood like silent soldiers or silent guards, guarding the restless path. Restless path will mean that there's always a to and fro movement, yeah? So her heart fluttered like a trapped bird as she crept forward. She was scared. So fluttered is like a bird that you put in a cage. The bird is trying to find its way out. What does it do? It's flapping, it's fluttering. So what's the question? Identify two similes, metaphors, and explain their effect. Now, I explain that. What are the two figures of speech there? Silent sentinels. Okay. Fluttered, like a trapped bird. Okay. So silent sentinels shows protection and watchful calm. Like I said before, sentinels means a guard, a soldier. Okay. So it says the trees were like on left, both the left and right side, they were guarding the path. They were like soldiers on the path. You must have walked through such a path before, where trees are outlined like soldiers. So it says the trees, silent sentinels shows protection and watchful calm. You get that? And then it says, like a trapped bird implies anxiety and fear. See, she was scared. She was scared. So her heart fluttered like a trapped bird as she crept forward. So she was just, taking careful steps, or fearful steps in anxiety. So combines what's the explanation now from the use of the two figure of speech? It combines identification with analysis of moods. It tells us how she was feeling based on the environment, based on the surrounding. Okay, that's that. And then the next question now. Inference. This is an inference question from May, June 2021. And here's the excerpt. Only in the last paragraph did I read my name. Unexpected, yet oddly comforting. Okay, so what happened here? Or what can we deduce from this question? Why didn't the writer mention their name onto the final paragraph? Simple. Is to build this kind of suspense in the reader's mind. So, and to also boost engagements, because so long you don't know who the the name has not been labeled on who the writer is talking about, you have to follow the passage to the end, right? So that's also boosting engagement with the the script or the article. So look at the answer. To build suspense and focus on the experience. Okay, that's another word. To focus on the experience before revealing the identity of the character. Is that good enough here? I believe so. So if you're enjoying this, you want to hit the subscribe button and turn on notification for more videos. Let's see question 5. Writer's effect, taken from May, June 2019. Okay, now here's the excerpt. A sudden crack broke the forest hush. Shards of bark flew as the tree lunged at him. This is a beautiful figure of speech. Okay, explain how the writer creates a sense of danger. Yes, as says use of sharp verbs. You can see that a sudden crack broke the forest hush. Okay, shards of bark flew as the tree lunged at him. Metaphoric. Okay, so use of sharp verbs of crack, lunged, sensory details to build tension. So this is a writer using all of these very sharp verbs. Crack. Crack broke the forest. Hush. Hush is like quietness. So like a sharp sound broke the quiet. And then shouts of back flew as the tree lunged at him. It takes the characteristics of the man, the person. All right, so that's good. Let's see my use of. I've already explained that. Okay, the next one, summary writing, October November 2020. This question was taken from there. Rising floods destroy crops. Villagers abandoned homes. Aid failed to reach remote areas. In hunger and despair, families slept on cold floorboards. Summarize the problem facing the villagers. Maximum 15 words. What do you do? This is an excerpt of a passage. It says, summarize this problem. In fact, this problem has already been summarized here because it's an excerpt. It was taken out to summarize for this question. To summarize the problem facing the villagers, you should not exceed 150 words. Okay, so what do? Concise summary grouping issues. That means be clear, brief, and direct on the issues that were faced in the flood. Okay, rising flood destroy crops. You can see that flooding. So you are listing the issues: flooding, displacement, delayed aid, delayed support, hunger. You can see that rising floods destroyed crops, so there was destruction. Homes were abandoned. Aid failed. Hunger, despair, and then what? Families were left in the cold. So that's how your answer should be: concise and yet very meaningful. And then we have the next one, directed writing, taken from May, June 2013. Okay, now look at that. Letter outline. Your principal wants suggestion for new subjects. You believe computer science is essential. Write a letter persuading the principal on why computer science should be added to the new subjects. Okay? Imagine that computer science was not taught in your school, in your curriculum, and you believe computer science should be a part of it. So write a letter to your principal, the principal or the head teacher of the school. What kind of letter would that be, first of all? That would be a formal letter. So you look at that. Formal tone. It's got to have a formal tone. And then persuasive technique. You've got to be persuasive. Listing your points and driving them home. Main logical rationale on why the principal should add computer science. Not begging him. Clear benefit listed. Yes, what's the benefit for the school and for the students? Okay, you list that in your letter. So these are very important points to note in your letter. Let's see question 8. And we have word choice analysis. The old car slithered around the bend. Slithered will be something like this, like the move of a snake. We use slithering mostly for snakes because snakes, they move in this awkward fashion. So now the old car slithered around the bend. What's that telling us? First of all, it's telling us that the car is not in good because cars don't slither. Cars move in a straight form or straight, they move in a recognizable way, straight way. So when the car is slithering, is either the car is in trouble, the driver is drunk, something is wrong. So what's the effect of slithering? What's slithered telling us about the passage? It's telling us what is this slithered doing in this excerpt? It's letting us know that something is wrong with the car. Thank God that we're told there again that the car is old. So we can deduce that, because the car is old, probably it had engine failure, something went wrong. So it conveys an unsettling, unstable, snake-like motion, implying that there is a danger, there's a problem. Okay? Explain how the poet creates a melancholic mood. Okay, what's like a melancholic mood? Melancholic is always connected to like a sorrowful mood. So he used sibilant sounds, silence, sorrows, imagery of shadows and moonlight, to convey that imagery, okay, or that motion of melancholy. So beneath the silent mode, shadow danced sorrow tone. Then you are asked, explain how the poet creates melancholic mood. Then you just look at the excerpt. You can see shadow, sorrow, yes, silent. So those are strong words that depict sorrow, melancholism. Next question. Tone shift from May, June 2018. It says, but suddenly laughter erupted, light, free, and startling after all that gloom. What's gloom? Darkness, a negative situation, a sorrowful situation. So from this now we can see something happened. There's a shift. There's a tone shift. So there was darkness, and then suddenly laughter, happiness, and joy. The tone of the writing suddenly switched, suddenly shifted. So identify how the tone changes in this paragraph and explain its impact. You can see that the tone shifts from somber or gloomy, okay, to uplifting, suggesting hope and joy. So things were bad, and then you get now. Why are we taking all these questions? Helping you see how IGCSE often set the questions, and also helping you to know how to answer those questions in the best way that will give you the highest score, right? So that's that about that. Let's go to question 12. Fact versus opinion, taken from May, June 2016. You have this excerpt. Experts warn that the new policy could increase costs. However, many believe it will benefit rural schools. Summarize the key challenges discussed, distinguishing facts from opinion. What are the key challenges discussed? One, there is a new policy. It could increase cost. Okay, those are the challenges. The cost could be increased. Cost of governance could be increased, but schools in the local areas will benefit. So what are the facts now? Policy may increase costs, like I just said. Rural schools stand to benefit. What are the opinions? Because look at the question. It says distinguish facts from opinion. So what are the opinions? They are from experts. Okay, experts. So and this is an opinion. It's not a fact. It's not a fact yet. It's just an opinion of some group of experts. So experts won. Many believed. Okay, this is also another opinion. Many believe, and your belief is your opinion. Okay, it's not a general thing. Good. Now next, question 12. Vocabulary, gnard. Let's see that excerpt from 2019. Gigantic, gnarled roots crept across the forest floor like ancient beasts. This is so beautiful. It's like I'm watching all those horror movies where you see the roots of trees running in the forest floor. You see this a lot in horror movies. Now, what does gnarled suggest here, and what is its effects? It suggested twisted, aged, and rough roots, creating a vivid, airy, and ancient forest atmosphere. You know, when I read through this just about now, all I could see was like the picture of it. I could see the roots from this old tree running across the forest floor. So that suggests this definitely. Twisted, aged, that means old, rough, of course. It won't be smooth. And then creating a vivid, airy, scary, if you like, and ancient forest atmosphere. Anybody who's passing by that place, in fact, people would not pass by that place once it's certain hours of the day, right? Just because of the airiness of it. 13. Sandwich sentences for tension. So this kind of sentences are used to boost or to increase tension. Let's see what it is. The excerpt. She paused. The silence stretched. Then came the sharp snap. If you observe from this excerpt, the sentences are short sentences. So the question, how do the short sentences add tension? How do the short sentences add tension? And this is just for a fact for any exam. Short sentences tend to build tension. Let me see what I said here. It says, each pause builds suspense. Yes. So short sentences build tension. As the writer pauses or the author pauses, it builds that sense of what's next. You want to see what's next. Suspense. Yes. So the final burst delivers dramatic shock. But sometimes you have to drop the book for a while to catch your breath. Yes. So that's it. That's the answer to this. Good. How do the short sentences add tension? Question 14. Direct writing on school report taken from May-June 2020. Here's the excerpt. You've been asked to write a report recommending how your school can improve recycling efforts. Compose a report suitable for your head teacher. Okay, so you've been asked to write a report recommending how your school can improve recycling effort. This is an article now. So it's got to have, or yes, if you're reporting that, it's got to have a formal structure because you are writing to the head teacher, the school principal. It's got to have an introduction, your findings on recycling. What are your findings? Then your recommendation. What do you recommend? And your recommendation has to be persuasive. Evidence, participation, cost saving. Yes, very important, cost saving, because if it's not going to save costs to the school probably would not accept. As a matter of fact, what is recycling without cost saving? So it's got to be cost saving. Then it's got to be persuasive for the head teacher to want to be involved with it. Right? Good. Question 15. Creative prompt. Moments that change everything. So this one now is a free writing. You are to write, give a writing, describe the moment everything changed for you. Now you might get an instruction, not more than 150 words, 200 words, but we don't have that here. So the question, write a short narrative. You are describing the moment. This is descriptive narration. Okay, when everything changed for you. So how do you write it? You must have a clear narrative arc. That means a clear setting. What are you talking about? Maybe on your rough sheet, you should have planned it moment by moment before you start writing. So a clear narrative arc or setting, conflict, climax, reflection tied to everything change. Make sure that the theme of the writing has this. It's not just a story of cock and bull. It has this, everything change, because this is the reason why you are writing. Good. And let's move on. Question 16. Sentence transformation taken from May-June 2013. Okay, instruction. Change to passive. The committee will announce the result tomorrow. This is an active sentence. You want to change it to passive, and what will it be? The result will be announced by the committee tomorrow. That's a simple one. Active, passive voice. 17. Unseen prose, first person reflection, taken from May-June 2021. Here's the excerpt. I remember feeling the weight of expectation as I stepped onto the stage. Explain how the use of first person affects your understanding. Yes, when you read writings in first person, how does it affect you? You can just put your own experience down. It creates intimacy and emotional connection because it feels like you are the one that is experiencing this. So that connection is there. Emotional connection. Placing the reader in the character's mindset. So it places you into the character mindset. In fact, it is so imaginative, for it's like a movie. Yes. And such kinds of writing do not leave the mind easily. You can easily narrate it to someone because you were in the role. You get that? So all of those, you can just list them in your answer. 18. Close reading. Inference about motives. Taken from 2015, October, November. He paused at the door, eyes flicking to the empty chair. He paused at the door, eyes flicking to the empty chair. What can you infer about his feelings towards that chair? There's got to be something that about the chair because his eyes were flickering to the chair. So it's either he feels regret, a longing to take the chair or to sit on the chair, persistency. This is suggesting past significance tied to that chair. So there's definitely got to be something, a connection to that chair that made him, once he opened the door and saw the chair, he paused. Was looking at the chair, flickering. Question 19. Figurative language, personification of city sounds, taken from May, June 2022. And here's the excerpt. The city heartbeat pulsed through the alleys, a living, breathing hum. Yes, that's personification right there. Because this is giving the attributes of a man to a city, of a human to a city. And that's personification. When you take the attributes of a human being and give to a non-living thing. Okay, so explain how personification creates effects. By describing sounds as a heartbeat, the city becomes alive. Yes, it's putting the city, because heartbeats is for people that are alive. People that are alive has heartbeats. So by using heartbeats in the writing, it kind of brings the city. It gives the reader that emotion, that feeling of liveliness. So the city becomes alive, energetic, massive. Cool. Question 20. Argumentative essay taken from 2014. Now you can choose for or against. An argumentative essay is like a debate. Write an essay arguing for or against school uniforms. All right. So provide a coherent argument with example. Coherent means rationale, not balablu. Nice. Provide a rationale argument, sensible, logical. So how do you write it? Your essay. You structure your essay first. I always say that before you start writing, structure it. Yeah. Your thesis, your supporting argument, your counter argument, your conclusion. So never, when you're writing an essay as this, either you're saying for or against, never condemn the other side. Like say, oh, uniform is totally useless. It's not necessary. It's bad. It's because it's not true. You have to be candid to yourself. There is some form of good in the motion. So you have to speak about that good first, very briefly. And then you begin to speak about where you stand, either for or against. Make sure that your argument outweighs what you've spoken about in the first or second paragraph. All right? So that's that. 21. Irony and tone, came from 2014. Here's the excerpt. He called it an honest mistake, but the jury's smile were anything but sincere. Okay. Explain the irony in this sentence and its effect. Someone in the jury had said, oh yes, that was an honest mistake, but the way they smiled said something different. So it's like the mouth is saying something different, but the mouth is saying one thing, then the facial expression is saying something else. That's around an irony. So the phrase honest mistake is ironic because the jury's insincerity shows that they don't believe it. This creates skepticism towards the speaker claim. So they were smiling. I said, okay, okay. But they were smiling like this or nodding their head. Shows that it didn't sit well with them. So they don't believe it. Okay, so that's an irony. Okay, 22. Complex Inference from 2022. Here's the excerpt. He wiped the slate clean, but the smudge remained. Wiped the slate clean is started afresh. He cleaned off his past mistake, but the smudge, meaning that there was a little. It's like it's often said that um, scar cannot compare to a clear skin, something like that. That even though the wound has healed, it's never compared to the skin that never had any injury. So what does the smudge represent subtly? Okay, so the smudge represents that even though he wiped the slate clean, there was a kind of tint. It suggests lingering guilt or memory that cannot be fully erased despite attempts to move on. So he wiped the slate clean. I'm done with this way of life. I'm done. But he has made a mess that despite his effort to clean up, he's got to have to bear the consequences in some shape or form. 23. Comparative language analysis. Here's the excerpt. The city hummed with restless energy. The village lay muted in the heat. Compare how each conveys atmosphere. A uses active verb hummed, okay, to show liveliness. A looks positive. B sounds negative. The city, so it's like a contrast, a comparison between two places, urban and rural. So urban life is booming, while rural life is dead or dying. So it says the village lay muted in the heat, meaning that nothing was working there, while the city was boisterous, human, liveliness, life was going on. So if you have to give your answer, you say, except he uses active verb, positivity, liveliness, while except B shows stagnation, redundancy. 24 now. Unseen poem. What's the speaker intent in this excerpt? I planted seeds in the dark, waiting for light. It's like an expectation kind of stuff. Question: what's the speaker emotional state and hope? Yes, like I said, the speaker is in a state of hope. I planted seeds in the dark, waiting for light. Okay, so the speaker is patient, hopeful. The answers I'm giving you here is how to answer these kinds of questions, because you will find them. These questions are what comprises of your IGCSE. So as you study this, it gives you a good understanding. Okay, when I say questions like this is how I'm to answer them. Do you understand now? So that's why I'm giving you these answers. Okay, so I planted seeds in the dark waiting for light. What is the speaker's emotion and hope? Then you put yourself into that poem, that line, and say, okay, this is a statement of hope, expectation. Something good is coming, something good will happen. So the speaker is patient, hopeful, and believes in growth despite current gloom, current uncertainty. Good. 25. Language intensity. This is an excerpt. He staggered under the weight, collapsing like a house of cards. Anytime you see like is always connected to simile. So, of course, simile, house of cards. He staggered under the weight, collapsing like a house of cards. Now, under the weight doesn't have to be a physical weight. It will also mean emotional weight of something that weighed on him emotionally, and then collapsed. In fact, I think it's more of that in this excerpt. So describe the effect of this simile, collapsing like a house of cards. It says the simile emphasizes fragility and sudden collapse, making the moment vivid and impactful. It tells us that something, this that is happening to the author here or the writer here, is real. It's going through something so weighty. The weight was so strong or so heavy on him, he collapsed. So it makes this part of this excerpt vivid and alive to us. So that's how you see it here. Vivid and impactful. It got through to you. 26. Evaluative summary taken from May, June 2016. Discussion of pros and cons of remote learning. What's pros and cons? Advantages and disadvantages of remote learning. What's remote learning? Out of class kind of learning. To summarize pros and cons neutrally in 130 words. So what do? It says, because now the question says you have to state the two. You have to, this is not an argument now. You have to give us the advantage and disadvantage. And it gives you a limited number of words, so you don't exceed that. So what do? Briefly outline benefits, and then you outline drawbacks without personal bias. Now, you must note that, very important, without personal bias. Don't take sides, because it didn't ask you to take sides. It says just discuss pros and cons of remote learning. You don't take sides in such discussion. Just outline. You are doing a plain kind of journalism right there. 27. Dramatic monologue. June 2018. Write a monologue for someone stuck in an elevator. Yes. So it's like a memo. You're writing the experience for someone that was stuck in an elevator. You can just put yourself in that place mentally. Just imagine it, that you are the one that's stuck in an elevator. Okay, so convey. What are you to convey? Okay, question. Okay, wow, this is even part of the question. Convey rising panic, character revelation, and possible resolution. That means the state of the person, what the person was doing there, and how the issue was resolved. So what do? You start by showing character psychological shift. First, I was calm. I sat on the ground. I'm just giving you an example. I sat on the floor of the elevator. Then I tried to use my phone. It's why there was no network. And then began to pace. And then the character begins to pray. And later begins to bang the walls of the elevator. And later begins to scream. And later begins to shout. That's so funny. So yeah, so you must show the shift in psychological balance from when he was hoping that someone was on here until 4 hours later. This was like, somebody help me. So descriptive detail, you must be descriptive. And you must go to climax. Make sure that whenever you're writing something like this, you reach climax. When the person is now AYR now, yeah. Okay, 28. Lexical analysis, taken from June 2014. Excerpt. The waves crashed, roared, and thundered against the pier. That's a nice figure of speech there. How does the series of verbs build intensity? The waves crashed, roared, and thundered against the pier. The progression intensifies the ocean's power, creating a sense of overwhelming force. It creates a sense that the waves were strong, it's powerful. Good. Then 29. Subtext and theme. Excerpt from 2013. All these questions, you can go to the year the question was taken from and check and verify and even check for more. Excerpt. The earth in silence. Faces lit by distant neon signs. What does the silence imply thematically? That's the theme. What does the silence imply? It suggests there's a problem here. They ate in silence. Faces lit by distant neon signs. They were not happy. Because when they are happy, they should be chatting. They should be chattering or chatting. They should be excited as they eat. But when you also see face lit by neon signs, neon lights, you know what a neon light is? It's like those banners or advertisement signs that you see by the road as you are going. Okay, so they were sitting at a distance, opposite maybe one of a motel, one from of a motel, where they are sitting on like the seats beside the road, and this neon sign was beaming little rays of light on them. So they were not in a good position at that time of the night, in the dark, sitting alone in isolation. So it suggests isolation, emotional issues, strained relationship despite company. Yes, that's right. And then the last one I have for you for this beautiful, beautiful time we've had is register an audience from 2015. And here's the excerpt. An advice column opening. Dear students, here is a tip to ace exams. Analyze the tone and target audience. Dear students, here is a tip to ace exam. Who is he talking? Who is the writer talking to? This tone, is it formal or informal? Okay, in my answer it says informal. Why so? Because you don't use tip. The fact that he's using tip here means he's talking to his students. These are like, I'm talking to my students. I'm talking to my students, it's not formal, it's informal. Or yeah, informal. They are my students, we play. So, dear students, here is a tip to ace your exams. You can see that now. So that's informal. It's like giving a pep talk, encouraging the students to, beat the oncoming exam. So that's it. 30. Oh, except for the years, it's 30 actually. I'll make another one, but for now, this is the 30 top challenging IGCSE English questions that you will find in any year. So you can take this, master this, make references to other years, of course. And then you can also use the app, which you'll find the link in the description, an app from us to study more on these past questions. We have a lot of past questions there. You can study as much as you can. It will help you to ace your oncoming IGCSE exam. If you're yet to be subscribed to this channel, it's time to do so that as we release future updates, you'll be notified. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.